Do you want to improve your English while enjoying a good story? Listening to real stories helps you learn English naturally, just like children do. You understand grammar, vocabulary, and expressions without thinking about rules. It's fun, easy, and very effective. So if you're ready, like this video, subscribe to our channel, and let's begin today's story. It was a cold morning in Amsterdam. The sky was gray, and the air was heavy with the smell of rain. A young man named Elias walked slowly through the narrow streets. He had no umbrella, but he didn't mind. He loved how the cold air touched his face and how the light wind moved his hair. It was peaceful. It felt like the whole city was asleep. Elias was not in Amsterdam for work or for school. He was there because he needed a break. Life had become too noisy, too fast, and too full of things he didn't care about. He didn't want museums, shopping streets, or tourist spots. He just wanted to feel something real. Something soft. Something slow. As he turned a corner, he saw a small cafe with soft yellow lights inside. It didn't look modern or fancy. It looked old and kind. The windows were foggy, and the wooden sign outside was a little broken. Still, it felt perfect. Without thinking, Elias pushed the door and stepped in. Warm air wrapped around him like a blanket. The smell of coffee and fresh bread filled his nose. There were only a few people inside, each sitting alone with a book or just a quiet drink. No one looked up. No one cared who he was. And Elias loved that. He chose a seat near the window, where he could see the rainy street. He didn't order right away. He just sat there, watching drops of rain hit the window. They moved slowly, joining each other, forming new shapes, and sliding down. Outside, the world moved at its own pace. Bikes passed by without a sound. A cat ran across the road and disappeared. A couple shared an umbrella, walking close, not talking. The woman behind the counter, who seemed to own the cafe, finally came to his table. She smiled, but didn't ask anything. Elias smiled back and pointed to a picture of a drink on the menu. She nodded and left. He didn't need words. He didn't want them. That moment was about being quiet. While waiting, Elias took off his coat and placed it on the back of his chair. He ran his fingers through his hair, still wet from the rain. His mind was calm. That was new for him. Usually, he was always thinking, planning, worrying. But now, sitting in this cafe, he had nothing to do and nowhere to go. When the coffee came, it was served in a small, old mug. Not the kind with logos or colors. Just plain and real. He wrapped his hands around it and felt the warmth move into his fingers. He took a slow sip. It wasn't the best coffee he ever had. But it was exactly what he needed. The hours passed without sound. He didn't check his phone. He didn't look at the time. He just watched the world outside that little window. He watched how the rain changed. Sometimes heavy, sometimes soft. Sometimes it stopped, only to come back again with more strength. And every change brought something new to see, something new to feel. At one point, a group of children passed by. They were all in raincoats, jumping in puddles and laughing. Elias smiled without thinking. He remembered being their age. When rain was a game, not a problem. When wet shoes meant fun, not trouble. That memory stayed with him for a while, like a warm fire inside. As the day went on, the sky turned darker. The lights inside the cafe seemed brighter now, but still gentle. A man started playing soft music in a corner with an old guitar. It wasn't a show. He wasn't a performer. He was just playing because he wanted to. The sound mixed with the rain and the smell of coffee. Elias felt like he was inside a painting. He looked around the cafe again. Everyone there was alone, but no one looked lonely. It was the kind of place where people came to be quiet with their thoughts. Elias realized something then. He had been so afraid of silence before. But now, he found comfort in it. He finished his coffee slowly and didn't ask for more. He just let his hands rest on the table, feeling the old wood under his palms. Everything in that cafe had a history. The chairs, the walls, the pictures on the shelf. And he liked that. He liked that nothing was trying to be perfect. It just was. Later, a soft rain started again. The windows became more foggy, but Elias didn't wipe them. He liked the way the world outside looked now, blurry, quiet, dreamlike. It was like the city was whispering to him, not shouting. And that was exactly what he needed. He remembered something someone once told him. That the best way to travel was to stop chasing things and just let the world show itself to you. That day in Amsterdam, he finally understood what that meant. He wasn't trying to collect moments or take pictures. He was just living. Just breathing. He didn't speak to anyone in the cafe. He didn't need to. Sometimes the best company is your own thoughts and a cup of warm coffee. He stayed until the outside world began to darken, until the lights from street lamps started to reflect on the wet ground, making everything glow. When he finally stood up, his legs felt heavy, but his heart felt light. He nodded goodbye to the woman behind the counter. She nodded back. Nothing more. But that moment was full of meaning. Elias stepped out into the wet street. The rain had stopped for now. The city was quiet. He didn't rush. He walked slowly, letting each step take him somewhere new. He didn't care where he was going. That cafe had changed something inside him. As he walked back through the narrow streets, he looked up at the sky. The clouds were breaking, and a little light showed through. Not sunshine. Just a soft, silver light that made the wet roads shine. And he smiled. Because sometimes, the best part of travel is not the big places or the famous views. Sometimes it's a small cafe, a rainy day, and the sound of nothing. You just listen to an English story. If it touched something in you, tell us in the comments. What place made you feel quiet inside? Don't forget to subscribe and come back tomorrow for another story that helps you grow your English, gently and naturally.